And then anyway, Hunter beyond medical helps. Sideswipe in an act of mercy killed Hunter. And that's another thing too. They completely glossed over Sideswipe's subplot as well. Which, if we're condensing stuff, I can see that going. But anyway, Earth was forever changed. You're kidding me. They've got 2 pages on all 4 issues of Coda. And not just that, but they don't have any of the stuff about Cup in there at all. The Cup bits are the best part of Coda, and they don't have anything about that. But anyway, does he decommissioning Cybertronian weapons on Earth? Their war had changed. Ironhide contemplating retirement. Starscream and the Decepticons fled Earth with the Autobot Matrix. And they left out the fact that Megatron was still alive but on life support, which is kind of important, given the fact that they said they established Megatron is going to make a recovery and he's not dead. That was pretty key. Starscream unable to open the Matrix. Sunstreaker alive, reliving his nightmare over and over and over for eternity. Okay. Galvatron and Cyclonus escaped the dead universe. Embraced on the one universal constant of change, so they're going to force chaos in everyone. Okay. Bumblebee rescued. They gave the half-page story in Coda with Bumblebee, which means really nothing, its own blurb. And then they talk about military operation taking over the name Skywatch to capture all remaining Transformers. And what do we have here? Now they've got a chronology here, where they've got a... This is actually useful here. They've got a reading chronology. They actually took the effort to put a reading chronology in here. So whereas they completely butchered the timeline, they put a chronology in. Now I'm just going to skim through this, and based on what I know, see how accurate this is. Well, Wheatley's Spotlight is listed as 6th in the reading list, but it can't take place at 6th in the reading list because, again, Reflector dies there. And also we get a message from Wheatley in it's either Escalation or Devastation that he's broadcasting in his Spotlight. So I guess it only takes place there in that we know he crash landed a long, long time ago. So it starts there, I suppose. Kind of like how Jazz is, the framing is using the All Hail Megatron events, but the story takes place in the past. So I can kind of accept that. Anyway, reading this so far... So far, this looks fairly stable. Magnus's stuff taking place that early. Nightbeat's stuff takes place a bit too early. Nightbeat's stuff should take place after... it should take place before Escalation, but after Infiltration. Although, that's again dubious. It's just because it ends leading into Escalation. So you can... I suppose you could place it there. Anyway, so Infiltration, Stormbringer, Cup... Cup could really go anywhere, to be honest. So I can kind of go off that as well, because we don't know how long Cup was in his current state or when that story took place. So yeah, Escalation, Ramjet, accurate. And fans are going to like that they didn't even acknowledge the New Avengers Transformers crossover, which people are going to love because of the fact that it was so utterly horrid that it didn't even warrant a mention. So anyway, Galvatron's Spotlight, then Optimus Prime's Spotlight is... I'm just trying to think. Yeah, that's right. No, wait. I'm just trying to remember this here. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's right chronologically. Yeah, that is. Blaster Spotlight, okay, yeah. RC, Devastation. Mirage's Spotlight takes place then. Mirage's Spotlight doesn't really have a place in the chronology aside from sometime after Maximum Dinobots, because that's when, and before All Hail Megatron, but it really is an out-of-continuity story because it doesn't really play in. But anyway, there's Mirage's, then Grimlock's Spotlight. Then they've got the Cyclonus Hardhead Double Dealer Sideswipe, again accurate. Maximum Dinobots, accurate. Then they've got the Cup story in All Hail Megatron, accurate. And then they've got the Spotlight Drift, accurate. All Hail Megatron 15, Story B, accurate. Metroplex. So, to be perfectly fair with this, the chronology that they actually give in the back on these back two pages here, there's a few question marks I have about the way it's laid out, but it's accurate enough for my tastes, to be honest, as someone who's huge on continuity. And they even admit in the opening blurb that it's not perfect because some comics take place in multiple places, and Transformers 1 is after that. Then they talk about all the trade paperbacks that are out. And there's an Andy Schmidt afterward here. It's talking about here that All Hail Megatron's the foundation, okay. And they're talking about the Bumblebee limited series, Last Stand of the Wreckers. And they're talking about this letters page. And that's the issue right there. So final thoughts on this thing that I have. There's a couple of these. First of all, they completely omit the entire reason Earth was important in the war, which was the entire focal point of the original Simon Furman stuff. That is that they had Ultra Energon on Earth. It gets a small mention, but the fact that Earth has Ultra Energon is a complete footnote in this book. And they ignore the fact that it's the entire focal point of the Asian series, of Stormbringer, and of several other books as well. The other big issue I have with this is they completely ignore Scorponok's role in all this with the Machination. The Machination, according to this, does not exist. The Machination does not exist. It is Skywatch that did. Skywatch is the catch-all for all the bad things that were done to the Transformers by humans back then. Whereas there were two distinct separate organizations, one actually run by a Transformer as part of his grand illustrious scheme to create his own empire throughout the galaxy. Other omissions and such, to be perfectly honest, there's the omissions with Stormbringer and the editing, creative editing there. But the first 5 pages, those contain the most tweaking with the storyline. A lot of the other stuff is just very deliberate omissions of different characters and facts. But yeah, all the stuff to do with Scorponok and the Machination, pretty much all of that is dead wrong in here. They omitted the OR-13, and Revelation got ridiculously truncated as well as Escalation and Devastation, like how Six Shot got completely cut out of the story. And yeah, they really condensed a lot of stuff in here, which probably shouldn't have gotten condensed. There's stuff in here that I probably would not have mentioned in this book that they did mention in this book in order to get other things in. But really, to be perfectly honest, they did compromise with this thing. Now that I'm looking back at this, I'm a bit calmer about it. But honestly, there's a couple of plot points which they got completely wrong in here. And the only reason I can think that they would do this is either they're going to bring OR-13 back in significance or forget it altogether. They're probably going to forget this altogether, although they do suggest Shockwave had a big plan. And they also turned Skywatch into a catch-all in order to give Skywatch more significance in the overall storyline, so that they can say, oh, the old Skywatch was evil, but this Skywatch isn't. When in fact, the old Skywatch wasn't evil, they were just incompetent at their jobs. They weren't evil, they just didn't know what the heck they were doing, and they had a huge few screw-ups because they got played by the Machination at every step. And then they got played by Shockwave and Soundwave. So yeah, again, there's a lot of stuff of omissions here. Like, for instance, the Cup storyline, Sideswipe's entire subplot, Soundwave's subplot as well. They tweaked Grimlock stuff as well. But a lot of that stuff is tangential to the main storyline, so I can kind of let that slide.